All right, let's get started now with our very special panel on the buck stops here this evening. Chanda Kochhar, Hari Bhartia, the president of CII, and NK Singh join us on the panel tonight. Chanda, if I may start with you, since you are one of the 6 co-chairs of the World Economic Forum, chosen globally in a sense. This theme of India inclusive or inclusive India, that's the slogan, that's the way the India story is being framed at Davos this time. But the backdrop in which you're traveling, not just for India, but across the world, there is perhaps unprecedented scrutiny on the corporate world. Even Klaus Schwab himself is talking about the dangers of a burnout, for example. How will you pitch this slogan of inclusive India, inclusive growth?
Well, in my view, the real meaning of India inclusive at a world forum actually has 2 facets. One is, of course, the fact that India inclusive means that growth in India has to be made inclusive, and we have to make sure that the growth reaches each and every part of the population, and we make them grow along with the growth in India. But the second way of looking at India inclusive for the world is to say that as India grows, India's growth can become inclusive for the world as well. That is, there is a lot of opportunity for the world players to come and participate in India's growth. And for us, we are not a closed economy. We welcome them, and we actually grow along with providing opportunities to many other companies, countries in the world.
Now, Chanda, you're obviously defining the inclusive growth paradigm in 2 different ways. One is vis-a-vis the external world, where you're saying our capitalism is not an aggressive capitalism. It does not infiltrate, in a sense, other countries' capacities to grow. But when we look at this phrase applied domestically to India, given how much talk there has been about inflation, food prices, petrol prices, for example, are you concerned about how this pitch will be made for what's happening to us within our country?
See, these are some of the issues like inflation and other issues which we cannot gloss over clearly. But at the same time, I believe that the fundamental drivers that are driving India's growth are so strong that they give us the capability to manage these challenges. So our fundamental drivers in terms of our entire demographic strength, I think that is going to be for the world to see, and that's going to be a strength that is going to remain with us for many decades to come. Similarly, all the investment in infrastructure, if we really make that happen, that's a big growth driver that will drive our growth for many decades to come. So I think the fundamental factors are very strong. Along the side, there are some challenges. Any growth throws up its challenges. Challenges in the form of managing inflation and everything else that you mentioned. What is important for us is not to ignore the challenges, to manage the challenges, but I still believe that these are challenges which can be managed and growth can still keep moving, and these are not challenges which will kind of put a dampener on growth.
Hari Bhartia, as president of CII, what do you see as the main focus of the India story this time? You spoke quite bluntly earlier this week about some of the challenges. You said that corporate India would not be shying away from tough questions, and I'll come to that in just a moment. But what do you see as the main message of the India story as you lead a business delegation there?
As Chanda rightly pointed out, while India is growing at 8 to 9%, look at the backdrop. If you the last 5-7 years, look at our social indicators. Our education system, where 90% people drop out of school, only 12% go to the graduate level. So if you see the potential, we have been growing with these kind of social indicators. Now look at the kind of investment that is going on into the social sector. It has been almost doubled over the last 3 years. If you look at budgets on education, budgets on employment guarantee schemes, the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, on the mother and child schemes for healthcare. Now all these things, in my view, are starting to make an impact. And what we call about the demographic dividend, where we need to bring in skill development to these young people, almost 15 million of them who are coming into the employment market every year. So I think the main thing that we want to highlight is that this growth is sustainable, because of entrepreneurship, because the second part is that all this investment into the social sector will further spur growth, because what happens is that all the investment also comes back in the form of demand. That is another part of the growth. So we have challenges, and I think we are starting to deal with them. It may not be 100% efficient. It's a work in progress.